Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. This is Matt. It is a Thursday. It's normally time for a Matchumentary. Matchumentary's kind of taking a break for a week. It'll be back next week. This is kind of a little bit like a Matchumentary episode, but not. The reason we're not actually doing one is because we've just come back from the session. It was a very busy weekend. I'm now going to be away for 3 days filming with Murphy's Magic, so there's no time to do a Matchumentary. I have set him a goal for next week. But this is kind of Matchumentary because what we're doing is we're doing a review of the Session Magic Convention in London. We've just come back last night from the session, and I'm going to ask Matt what he thought and also what he's learned that he can apply to his act that he's going to be doing at Blackpool. Because here's the thing, and I've never seen you this quiet ever, but this is the thing, he's never been to a Magic Convention before as a punter. He's always been behind the stand. So you've been to the London Magic Convention a couple of times, you've been to Blackpool once, I think that's it. It's just a London Magic Convention in Blackpool. Yeah.
I've been to a couple of like tiny ones.
Which ones?
I don't know if they've been classed as conventions, just like meetups and stuff.
That's not a convention.
Well, you know.
That's hanging out with mates.
There's groups of magicians
but that's not
hanging out, showing you the magic.
That's not a convention. That's a chat.
I mean, wasn't there another one we went to?
No. I went to Newmarket, but you didn't.
No, I didn't go to Newmarket because I was busy.
Yeah, and that's it.
Okay.
Anyway, he's been to a couple of conventions and run a dealer booth, but this was the first one he went to. I said, hey, would you like to come to the session? He said yes. So we went to the session with Ryland, got there on the Thursday night. We hung out there all day Friday, all day Saturday, all day Sunday. Left straight after the gala show because Ryland had to go to bed. He's in school today. But I want to know your thoughts, Matt. You went to your very first Magic Convention. This is going to be a full review of the session, warts and all. I want you to be honest. The problem with Matt is he's very nice. He doesn't like rocking boats, and he doesn't like saying anything negative about anybody. And I know you love Josh and Andy, but I want you to be honest. What did you think of the convention? We're going to talk it through. We're going to break it down and tell everyone, because there's a lot of people here that are thinking, should I go to the convention? And I'll tell you right now, it's very expensive to go to the session. I think it's more expensive to go to the session than it is to go to Blackpool, because when you go to Blackpool, not in terms of the ticket price, but when you're going to Blackpool, you're staying in Blackpool out of season. It's relatively cheap, both in terms of food, drink, and accommodation.
Yeah.
That hotel is ridiculously expensive. I went to the bar and I got one Diet Coke and one bottle of water. Diet Coke for me, bottle of water for Ryan, £12. £12.
Yeah.
I spent 130 quid on 3 burgers.
The biggest drawback...
They weren't all for me, by the way. One for Ryan and one for Matt, one for... I'm not
the
that
biggest drawback of the convention
bastard.
is the price. Because I said to Ryan, enjoy a bag of Doritos, and he was like, yeah. So I got a Coke, just a little Coke, and 2 bags of Doritos, and it cost me £9.80.
It's ridiculous. Like,
I was like, are you sure? And the guy was like, yeah. Like, Jesus Christ.
Like the Session Magic Convention originally started off in Gloucester. I remember the first few sessions, and it was in Gloucester. And it outgrew Gloucester, and then it moved somewhere in London. And I left, excuse me, I left the magic community, for a few years and didn't go to any conventions. And I think it dotted around various different places while I was gone. But when I came back, this is my 3rd convention in a row, going to the session. When I came back, it was at this hotel and it had been here for a while. I don't think this is the best hotel for the session. I'm going to be honest with you. Danny Buckler, who did the gala show, and he was comparing the gala show, he made a joke about the hotel and how it's insanely expensive. The staff aren't particularly great.
They're not.
They really aren't. Made a joke of the room that the main room that everything's held in. He made a joke that there's 2 massive pillars, which there are.
It's not a joke.
No, the year before, Mark James, I remember saying, I'm sure it was Mark James said, hey, this is a stage set up by people who know nothing about stage magic. Like, it's not... outside of the fact that it's in central London and they have a lot of people travelling from European and international countries.
Access is great because it's at Heathrow, so access is fantastic. Like, you can get to that by cab, plane, train, whatever. So access to get there is great, but you'd have to sell a kidney
Yeah. I've spent more this weekend going to the session that I'm going to spend at Blackpool, outside of buying tricks, obviously, that I'm going to spend going to Blackpool.
And we're at Blackpool
which
for
has,
twice as long.
We're at Blackpool twice as long, yes. And in Blackpool, I've hired a whole house for myself.
Yeah.
For me, my kids, my dogs, my wife, and we've booked somewhere for you.
Yeah.
A separate place for you. So we booked somewhere for you, we booked somewhere for us, and I've paid for a dealer stand and tickets for you, Ryland, me, and Sarah, and still I'm going to have paid less than I did going to the session.
That is the biggest drawback. I think, like, because it's not comparable to Blackpool, obviously.
No,
it's a
not.
completely different beast. And it never will be, because they're not going to be able to grow it much more than they have, because people physically just can't afford to go. So you would have to, you'd have to have money in order to be able to afford to spend that much money on a hotel and then eat.
Yeah.
Regardless of having like, I was up till 2-3 o'clock most mornings. On the Saturday night, I didn't get the Saturday night / Sunday morning. I didn't get to bed till 4 o'clock because Harry Harrington turned up. So yeah, just being able to sit and have a drink and have something to eat it's horrifically expensive for anyone that's not used to living in central London.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
And that is the biggest drawback.
That is the biggest drawback.
And that's why there's not anywhere close to as many people there as Blackpool and other conventions, because people just can't afford it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one of the big. If you've never been there before, please understand you're going to have to take out a second mortgage to go there.
Yeah, or sell a child or something.
Sell a child. Yeah, that's an option for next year, actually.
Yeah.
I've got everything out of
You've
it
got
that
a
I need.
spare.
But yeah, we've got a spare. Get rid of her. Yeah, don't need her. Anyway, that's another thing. So actually the convention, right? So we got there on a Thursday night. There were a few people dotted around. We were chatting. We were talking. Yeah. But really, it kicks off on the Friday. So you get down on the Friday. One thing that I noticed, A, there seemed to be less people there. I mean, you can't comment, but there seemed to be less people there than before. And B, the event seemed to be very sporadically spread out. I remember last time it was like something happening constantly. But that wasn't the case here. It seemed like there were a lot of gaps. Like there were moments where it was like, okay, Ryland, do you want to go swimming for 3 hours because the next thing's not on?
Oh, there were massive gaps. There'd be like a lecture at like 10:30 for an hour, and then one at like 12:30 for an hour, and then one at 4:30, and then nothing till like 7:30. So there were massive gaps in between. And it's not like there's a dealer hall you can go and walk around, because there isn't one.
Yeah, that's the other thing. That's the other thing that we need. I mean, I know we've been quite negative, but this is just stuff that comes to my head.
There are major positives
and
coming up.
We'll get to that. But honestly, the dealer hall is just a bit pants. Like, but there's good dealers there. I don't want to slag off the dealers. Magic Box is amazing. Bicycle were there. You've obviously got Green Lemon, who are there every year, Forst & Bosch. You got some great guys. There's that guy that's always got the funny coin gimmicks. There's some great guys there. The Magic Circle are always there, obviously. There's some great people there, but there's only like 6 or 7 dealers.
There are 6 dealers, the Magic Circle, and Christian Grace.
Yeah, Christian Grace is a dealer.
No, I know, but his banner was just Enigma.
He was just doing Enigma, and
Yeah.
I think at this point most people have seen Enigma, and if they want to buy Enigma, they've made the decision to buy it.
He did all right. I was speaking to him about it. He did all right.
Okay.
But yeah, so there were 6 dealers, bicycle stand, Magic Circle stand, and then Christian.
And Enigma, yeah. That's crap.
And that's only open on the Sunday.
Yeah. And that's only open on Sunday. The rest of the time, you've got access to the Vanishing Inc stand throughout the day.
All weekend.
All weekend. You got, of course, the Vanishing Inc stand is in a separate room. 2 problems with that. The first problem is, and it's a problem for me, but maybe not for other people. Other than the new all-in books that they had,
They've got some amazing books.
Oh yeah. But other than the new books, there wasn't really anything new. They were still kind of pushing all of their Black Friday stuff that came out, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. They're good releases, but that came out like 2 or 3 months ago, and they didn't have anything new for the convention. So,
and there wasn't a massive amount. Like if you look at like Magic Box,
yeah,
you could have stood. I did stand on his stand for like an hour. There's just so much stuff that you can look at and play with. Vanishing, they didn't have. I didn't think they had a massive amount of options.
They didn't.
Considering that they were the only dealer stand for the Friday and the Saturday, there wasn't a massive amount of stuff to play with.
I mean, if I was Josh and Andy, I would go all in to try and get more dealers through the door. Because the thing is, dealers is... I know that there's people that go to the Blackpool Magic Convention to just check out the dealers.
Yeah.
Just check out the dealers. And dealers are a big draw to any convention. I would be going all in. And you know, as a dealer myself, I don't think it's kind of that fair, honestly, that they only allow the dealer hall open until Sunday and they're open the entire time. It's kind of like, I can see why a dealer... Well, put it this way, I have a dealer stand. I'm never going to have a dealer stand there, ever. Not in a million years. You know, it's just not going to happen. So I could... And a lot of the time, you know, I'll see dealers there and they won't come the next year. Like last year, there was the Kev G and Colin Klaus from the Refractor Project. They're not back this year. There were a bunch of other dealers that aren't back this year. The year before, there were people like... I'm trying to think now. There were Phil Smith was there the year before. He's not back. The Butterfly Playing Cards guys, they weren't back. And I think that tells me that they're not actually making it work. I don't know how much they have.
Well, they've only got a day.
They've only got a day. I don't know how much they're charged
I was going to say,
for a dealer
if it's
stand.
anything like everything else in that hotel, I mean, how much it must cost them.
Because bear in
rent
mind,
that
right, a
room
lot
for
of
3
people
days.
think, oh, dealers are going to make a fortune. They're not going to make a fortune. Well, they can make
Not
a
if they're
fortune.
not allowed to sell anything.
But if they can't sell anything other than one day, because it's not just, if they sell 100 items at 200 quid each, they're not getting that 200 quid. They've still got to factor in the cost of what it cost per unit has to be taken off. The cost of getting there, staying in the hotel, paying for food when you're there, whatever it may be. There's a lot of cost. I can imagine that a lot of dealers don't even break even.
I mean, they're only there for a day.
Yeah, exactly.
And if they're staying in the hotel,
Yeah.
and like how much they get charged for having a dealer stand there, because they've got to Vanishing have got to try and recoup their costs somewhere, because that, based on the price of a Coke, I can't imagine that room for 4 or 5 days is going to be cheap.
Nope, not at all.
And it's not just that room, is it? They've got that room, then they've got the room the dealer thing was in, they've got that other little room they had with the...
Yeah. So the dealers were a bit. I mean, obviously, you've also
Dealers
got...
that were there were fantastic.
Yeah,
There
Magic
just
Dream
wasn't
were
enough
awesome.
of them.
Magic Dream were great.
Yeah, there's just not enough of them.
Yeah, love Magic Dream. That new coin trick's really good. Anyway, that's not a time for this. Right, so, but let's talk about the positives. So first of all, a lot of the lectures were really good. You didn't go to all of them. There were some that just didn't interest you.
No.
And I didn't go to all of them. There were some that didn't interest me. I mean, again, the problem... I don't want to, again, I'm going on another negative, which I really don't want to, because I don't want this to be a rant on Vanishing Inc. in the session, because it's not meant to be, because there was a lot I loved about it. But one thing that I think of is, if there's a day where you don't particularly like one, or one lecture doesn't float your boat, you kind of basically there, you've paid to be there for the whole day to sit in a bar drinking expensive beer, which happened to you on the Friday.
Yeah.
You know, on the Friday, you didn't really go to any lectures until... Axel, no, not even Axel Heckler. I can't remember.
I did see Axel.
I
saw like half of Axel Heckler.
Okay. And the rest of the time, you're just sitting in the bar drinking expensive beer.
Yep.
Like, and that's the thing. You think about Blackpool, and again, you say you can't compare it to Blackpool, but you kind of have to, because they're the same price in terms of the tickets. Blackpool's a little bit more expensive. But when you actually think about Blackpool, there's like 7 events going on at the same time. It's the polar opposite. You can't do everything. Yeah. But it means that there's always going to be something that you can go and check out and watch. If anything, you don't have enough time, because you've got to get around 15 million dealers, as well as going and seeing all of the shows and all of the one-man shows and the competitions and this and that and the other. The problem with the session is, like I say, if there's one thing that you don't want to see, you're done. That's it. For the whole day, you're sitting in the bar. You're paying a fortune to sit in the bar. It's not like you can go around the dealers, because they ain't fucking open.
Well, the Vanishing one is.
Yeah, but you know.
Once you've been there once, you've been there once. I mean, the lecturers don't overlap. There's nothing going on at the same time. if you wanted to see every lecture and do everything that was happening at the session, you could easily do it with gaps in between.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing that overlaps anything else. They also had like the Young Magicians Club thing as well.
But when that was on, nothing else.
But then when that was on, nothing else is
I mean, Ryland went into those and checked those out.
He did, yeah. But I loved, like on the Friday, I loved hanging out in the bar because that was the day that like Lloyd was there and Jake was there and Sam and all the rest of them. So they all came down for just a day. So I didn't mind not really seeing any lectures that day because I was quite enjoying hanging out with those guys. But the main lecture that I did see, and one of my new favourite performers, is David Gerard.
Okay, so he did a show on the Friday night.
He did a show on the Friday night.
And after the show, you were a bit disappointed, not in the show, but in the audience, you told me.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit. Like, if you're doing a book test on someone and then they stand up in front of 300 people and go, and he says, what was your word? And they go, the. Really?
Yeah.
That was your word.
I mean, you either don't understand or you're being a dick. I mean,
yeah, it was either he didn't really understand what was going on or what he was supposed to do, or he was being a bellend.
Yeah.
But either way, I just heard the entire audience go, oh.
You've never been to a show before with magicians in it. Like, it, a lot of the time, not all the time, I mean, they were quite, the audience were quite appreciative to the gala show. We'll get to that a little bit later on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they weren't particularly the best audience for his show.
He had a rough time. I was speaking to him for a long time afterwards, the day after actually, and he was super positive about it, and he was like, I loved it. It was amazing. Performance of magicians coming over to the UK and performing, it was great, and like he was, he didn't have a negative thing to say. But for me, as a performer, listening to, like, watching this guy, like, what he left everything out on that stage. He left everything out there. He was brilliant. And then some of the reactions he was getting for some of the things he was doing weren't justified. Like, he should have got a better reaction for what he was doing because he was brilliant.
Yeah, and that's actually one of the big positives about the session, which is the stars of magic are just there for you to sit down and chat to them at any point.
Oh, yeah.
Matt had a chat with David Gerard. Blackpool, that's difficult to do because there's thousands of magicians there. You could literally go through the whole 4 days and not see a bunch of people.
Yeah.
Yes, there are opportunities to sit down with the stars of magic, but it's normally in the Ruskin and it's rammed and it's very claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But here, you've got that big bar, everyone's sitting down and sessioning in the bar, and it's all great and it's all well and good. And and you get to see those stars. And there's a lot of people that come to the convention that have just bought a ticket that aren't even like Mark Chandau and Mark Paul and
I bumped into Mark again. Me and Mark had a chat, and he's super nice as always.
Yeah.
Mark Chandau gave me a book.
Mark Elston.
Elston.
There's some.
Yeah, we were sitting with Mark Elston for
Mark
ages.
Elston
He's a great
genius.
Guy.
But that's a massive positive.
Oh yeah, like you could. I stood at the bar talking to Dynamo, or Stephen. Sorry, had a 40-minute conversation with David Gerard. Christian Grace walked past and went at me, and then we went and sat down in a corner, and I was sat talking to Christian. I was late. I was about 10-15 minutes late getting into the gala show because I was just sat there talking to Christian. And then as I walked in, Roman was like, Roman Armstrong was there. Obviously, I was hanging out with Roman loads. And he just went, "You're late for the gala show." I went, "Yeah, I know, but if Christian Grace wants to talk to you, you talk, don't you?" He went, "Fair enough." But just people like that are just milling around, just hanging about. You can go and sit down with anybody at any point and have a chat to them. And it's crazy. The access you've got to these huge names. We walk outside and one of the last people I was expecting to see, Wayne Dobson's just sitting there. I'm like, it's fucking Wayne Dobson. He's like the biggest name that's ever been in magic. And he just turned around to you and
went, "Hi, Matt."
He went, "You all right, Matt?" And I'm like, "Hello, sir."
You forget that Wayne watches a lot of Magic TV.
I was literally just stood there. Like, I never get starstruck. It's not anything that happens ever. But you're standing there talking to him with Ryland, and I'm just standing at the back. I'm like, I'm just going to stand here out the way. And then he just looked at me and smiled. He went, "You all right, Matt?" And I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah.
I just went, "Hello, sir." He's amazing. What an absolute legend. What a guy.
I agree. And that's a massive positive and a huge positive that, like, you know, you'd pay a fortune to have one-on-ones with some people that you can just sit down in the bar and have a chat to.
Yeah, you have one-on-ones with people without even intending to do it.
Exactly.
You just end up in a conversation with someone.
Exactly. And you love David Gerard's lecture.
David Gerard's lecture was phenomenal.
No tricks.
David Gerard's lecture was incredible, and he didn't teach a single magic trick. And there was people that I was hearing talking about it afterwards that were just like, I don't think I got anything from that. And it's like, the only way that you could have not got anything from that is if you're not a performer. Mm. If you are a performer, that lecture was everything. It was so good. And I actually wrote down questions on my phone as we were going so that I could not forget the questions that I wanted to speak to him about later on. And I caught him in the foyer the following day. No, it was the Sunday. I bumped into him in the foyer on the Sunday, and I was just like, I think I was with you, and I went over to him after his show, or after his lecture, and I went, I really want to grab 5 minutes with you, if that's okay, at some point this weekend. He went, "Dude, I'm here all weekend, just let me know." And I went, "Look, you're surrounded by people at the moment, I'll leave you to deal with this, just I want to speak to you at some point." He went, yeah, no problem. And then I was walking through the foyer on the Sunday, and he was standing there talking to somebody, and he kind of glanced over, and he looked at me, and he went, "Oh, you wanted to speak to me, right?" And I'm like, what a guy to remember that. You know what I mean? I literally just walked up to him and went, "Just at some point this weekend, I'd love to have 5 minutes with you." And he's like, "Yeah, of course." 2 days later, I'm walking through the foyer, and he goes, "Oh, you wanted to speak to me?"
Yeah.
What a guy. Yeah. What a guy. And I was like, "Well, yeah, just whenever you've got time." And he went, "I'll speak to you later, buddy. What do you need?" And I'm like, oh my God, like, this guy is phenomenal. And I was like, because he was talking about in his lecture being present and not using your phone and whatever. So I took my phone out of my pocket. I went, "I'm listening and I'm being present, but I wrote down questions." And he went, "Yeah, that's fine." So we were stood talking for 45 minutes, and I was asking him these questions, and he gave me such eloquent answers. And he seriously knows what he's talking about. And he's got a huge passion for magic and performing. And he really wants to be one of the greats.
Here's a question. Here's a question. Do you think there should have been more lectures on tricks? Like, because you think David
There was a few
Gerard,
lectures that weren't about tricks.
Like Danny Buckler's.
Buckler's. I'm not sure what that was about.
I think it was just a chance for him to have a rant for an hour and a half.
He just wanted to stand up there and just say some shit.
And the thing with Danny's lecture is I thought it was exceptional.
It was great. I loved it.
I thought there were moments in there that were golden nuggets that you could literally, honestly, brilliant. But it was just, I wish he'd wrote it down and made a note of what Nemed's at the door.
He's
Nemed
making
Phoenix is at the door of the studio. Just, Nemed, come on in and go and sit down over there. And we're filming a video. Look at him.
I just looked up to the window and just saw two hands doing this.
Bless his cotton socks. Yeah, like I wish he'd kind of organised his thoughts a bit more. He even said himself, "I'm going off at a tangent." He had to stop himself at various different points. I think it would have been better to have it more systematised.
He said something at the start about generally when people come up and do lectures, they have a structure, they have a script, they rehearse this stuff. I haven't done any of that. So we'll just see what happens. And it was just an hour of him just talking.
But it was very good. But I heard a few people in the in the foyer going, "Oh, there's not enough tricks," which in a way I can understand, because I mean I know Danny Buckler's lecture was great, David Gerard's lecture was great, but it's a fucking magic convention at the end of the day. You know, some people who come here just learn tricks, and there's nothing wrong with that. My favourite lectures,
but there were lectures there where people were just teaching tricks.
My favourite lectures, in all honesty, were the ones where tricks were being taught. I'll tell you my favourite lectures. Tom Stone.
Obviously.
I've seen him do something similar to that before, but the guy did a paddle move with his arm with an oven glove on it. I mean, what the actual hell? Tom Stone, absolutely amazing lecture. Axel Heckler, really great lecture. David Stone, you walked out of David Stone's lecture. Right. I said, you've got to come and watch David Stone.
Don't give me that face.
Hey, I said, you've got to come watch David Stone. He's one of the best lecturers that I've ever seen. he's 5 minutes in, 10 minutes in, and you're like, I'm going to go and have a fag and do something else. I'm like, really? He's like, he's just made a bottle appear out of a balloon. I'm not into that. And you walked off.
It wasn't 10 minutes. I was there for a while.
No, you weren't.
And I'm never going to make a bottle appear out of a balloon. He's phenomenal. His show was phenomenal. He was amazing in the gala show. He's great. He's fantastic. I've got nothing against David Stone at all, in the slightest. He's a legend. He's phenomenally good at what he does.
But you just didn't want to watch his lecture.
It's just nothing. There was so much stuff going on, and there was so many things going into my head. The only lectures I've ever done have been standing there doing your tricks over and over and over again, right? And then getting drunk in the Ruskin and not actually remembering what happens. The second I walked through that door on the Thursday, people were coming up to me constantly, both of us and Ryland, going, can I show you a trick? 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 And I loved that. I'm not moaning about that in any way, shape or form. It was amazing. Meeting all the people that I met, seeing all this new magic was incredible. But I saw a lot. And it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching this guy who's incredibly talented and better at magic than I will ever be, making a bottle appear out of a balloon. And I'm like, I'm not going to use this information. This information isn't going to be anything that I ever need to know. And my brain was just fried, and literally everybody was in the David Stone lecture. Everyone.
Of course they were. He's the best lecturer there is.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, and rightly so, everybody was in that lecture. So I thought, if everybody's in this lecture, I can actually just go and sit outside for a bit and just, you know what I mean? So that's what I did. Just, when I sat outside, had a smoke, had a drink, and just...
Same with Axel Heckler. You didn't watch his whole lecture. You walked out of his.
I got about halfway through Axel Heckler's lecture.
Yeah, so you missed an incredible mentalism piece at the end.
Yeah.
That was all about a perfect moment in time.
Yeah, well...
the point I'm trying to make is you never know what's going to come up. You
never
know.
Yeah, no, you're right. But, I mean, it was a lot. The whole weekend was just the amount of magic that I saw.
Yeah.
For 14 hours a day, every day, was just people showing me magic tricks constantly, which is great, and I loved it, and I'm not moaning about it in any way, shape or form. And it was really nice that people were coming up to me and saying hello and showing me magic tricks. But then to sit in a dark, warm room watching a guy on a stage, my eyes were going. I didn't want to be rude and fall asleep in a lecture, so I just went outside and had a fag.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. So outside of David Gerard, what was your next favourite lecture?
I think Danny's, just because he was nuts. Danny was nuts. But I really enjoyed it. I get what he was trying to do. He was telling a story. He was, telling about what happens if you work hard in magic and what you can, it doesn't have to be just about the magic. It's about the performance. It's about the comedy. It's about the experiences you have and the people you meet. And he was just telling a story. And I thought that was fantastic. He didn't teach any magic, but neither did David. And David's was my favourite lecture by a mile because he was so relatable to what I'm trying to do.
Let's talk about the big events, which is the gala
show.
Because you walked out a bit disappointed.
I walked out a bit disappointed because I don't know whether they were professional sound technicians or whether they were just people that worked at Vanishing or whatever, but the sound guys, that needs to change.
Nicola Arcane got royally fucked over.
She got
how she dealt with it as a professional.
She's obviously a consummate professional.
You could tell she was pissed.
She's obviously a consummate.
She got to the point where the fifth time they didn't play music and she went, "This is the gesture.
This is the universal gesture for starting a music track." And it's like, I'm just because I was at the back of the room and I'm just like, oh my God, this poor woman.
And I'll say it before and I'll say it again. Nicola Arcane has got the best cups and balls routine.
It was phenomenal, but we had to wait about 45 seconds to see the start of it because she's like, I physically can't do this bit without music. Can you please just put some fucking music on? She didn't say it like that, but that's what was in my head. I was embarrassed.
How hard is it to press a fucking button?
And it wasn't just Nicola. It was literally every act.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And her microphone was going... Nicola's microphone just started going up and down the volume on a microphone just started going up and down for no reason whatsoever. It was like the guy on the sound desk was just doing that with a mic for like 20 seconds. How does that even happen?
No idea.
How does that even happen?
No idea.
Unless he was physically just like... Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get some proper sound guys.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, at
And
one
get
point,
a better hotel that's not as expensive.
the French lady, I can't remember her name,
Duvivier. Oh my God.
Duvivier?
She's
Duvivier.
Dominic Duvivier's daughter, and I can't
Yeah.
remember her name. Oh my God.
Alexandra
Duvivier.
Yeah. She started doing something, and then she went, "That's not even my music." Started playing Danny Buckler's music. Didn't they?
At that point, if you remember, I had to disappear for 2 minutes.
Because you'd lost your AirPods.
But I hadn't lost my AirPods. Ryan had put them in his pocket.
Yeah. But she was like, "Music, please. Music, please. Music, please." And then they started playing the track, and you could hear, because the song was about to go on. She was like, "Brilliant. Went, my music, please." And they started playing the music they were using for Danny beforehand. And she's like, "That's not even my song. Play my music, please." And I'm just at the back of the room just going, "Oh my God." It was the music, the sound guys, it was, as for a professional performer. These are some of the biggest names in Magic. Some of the biggest names in the world are performing. There's a FISM winner.
They dealt with it.
They, as performers, dealt with it, but they shouldn't have to.
The person who dealt with it the best was David Stone, because he had no music.
He had no music.
He just
so
turned up
was
with a
like-
deck of cards and was just being David Stone.
Yeah. Which is probably the way to go if you're going to do a show where the sound guys are like that. Just don't have any music. Don't have any music. But yeah, Nicola I felt really, really bad for. Alexandra as well. The last routine she did with the deck of cards, and she was telling the story with the deck of cards, and it was such a beautiful piece of art, was what that was. It wasn't just magic. That was really well thought out. It was well put together. The music track that she chose was beautiful when it eventually started playing. And she's doing this whole piece with the cards and the heart. It was lovely. It was art, what she did. That was amazing. But she's sitting there on the stage. She's asked for the overhead camera, which she got straight away. The camera guy was on point. She asked for the overhead camera. Overhead camera came in straight away. She's checked the screen, gone, "Right, we're ready to go." I physically can't do this bit without music. I have to have music for this bit to work. Can you please just play the song? It's number 3.
Do it.
It's number 3. No. Really
Who
sorry
was the
about
first
this.
lecturer?
Number 3. Can you play? Thank you.
Who was the first lecturer of the day? Can you get it up on your phone? Who was the first lecturer on the Friday? Because these tech issues were throughout the event.
Oh, it was the whole weekend.
Like,
The
I
entire
remember
weekend.
the first lecturer. Who was it? Oh, just remind me, because it might have been the David Gerrard show. It might not have been. It could have been. Who was on the Friday?
I've lost the thing. I've got rid of it.
Oh, shit. There was somebody who lectured on the Friday, and he was doing some magic on the table, and we only had a front-on camera. And he was spreading the deck out on the table, and nobody could see anything. And he said, "Oh yeah, I've just been told that the overhead camera doesn't work." So for like all of the lectures, or for at least the first day of lectures, they had no overhead cam. Bearing in mind, this is they need the overhead cam to explain it. There was no overhead cam. It's like, look, the bottom line is, I'm sure it wasn't Vanishing Inc's fault. And I'm sure that, like, Josh and Andy didn't set out to go, let's fuck people over with tech issues. And I'm sure that it was a stressful situation that they dealt with as quickly and easily as they could. But the bottom line is, when you're asking people to spend this sort of money, then you kind of need to go, well, it needs sorting. You know, we're paying money to come to a convention where there's so many people in the room. We need an overhead cam. We need sound that works. And when that doesn't happen, well, I mean, still everybody loved the gala show. The gala show got a standing ovation at the end.
Ruben.
It doesn't matter. It's
What?
not-
No, the guy. What was his name?
The last guy.
The last guy. Ruben.
I can't remember his name.
Villegard. Villegard, something like that.
He was amazing.
Fuck, that guy's good. Do you know who that is? No. I didn't know either. Oh my God, he's good. Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, he was hilarious.
Very funny.
Never spoke a word.
Didn't say a word.
Didn't say a
all
word.
All body language, all done to music. Eventually,
the thing with the tie, and just...
it was phenomenally good.
Yeah.
So very very good. I mean, when Danny's standing on the stage going, I know this guy because I was booked to do a show somewhere.
No, he does the cruise liners like Danny. And so he's always following this guy around. He's been on a ship and then Danny goes on the ship.
And someone's walked up to Danny Buckler and gone, good luck, because the best comedy magician in the world was on before you. To Danny Buckler.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
And he's gone, oh, fuck, okay. And turns out he's brilliant.
Yeah.
Very, very
Gala show was fantastic, despite the tech issues.
If you can look past the tech issues, which as a performer is difficult to do.
And the performers that were on the bill dealt with it as well as they...
Oh, yeah, of course. They dealt with it like consummate professionals because that's what they are. But they shouldn't have had to.
The other thing that I'll say is Wayne Dobson was interviewed on the Insider podcast. Yeah. So they had a podcast live hosted by Damien on the stage where he interviewed Mike Sullivan and Wayne Dobson. And it was great. You know, anytime you get to hear Wayne speak, he's a legend. But Mike Sullivan comes up to me a couple of hours before. I was with you. And Mike Sullivan comes up to me 3 or 4 hours before the event.
But that wasn't advertised.
No, it wasn't advertised.
Like, we didn't even know about it.
I think they slotted that in because Dominic Duivia was literally the last minute. Wasn't there. Oh, hang on. I need to also say, Luke Germain's lecture was fucking brilliant. I know it was magic.
It was good.
Right, I'll tell you right now, Matt was disappointed. And no, Matt was disappointed. I'll tell you why. Because he was expecting Luke to do a mentalism lecture.
Yeah, as you would.
What he did is he did a magic lecture, and it was it was the best version of McDonald's Aces I've ever seen. Classics of magic. Best version of McDonald's Aces I've ever seen. Super clean cups and balls. An incredible version of coin through table with a flipper. Really good material, rightfully so. And he performed it as a show. He did a 20-minute show of this material and then broke it down afterwards and got a standing ovation after the performance. That's the best lecture I've ever seen Luke Germain do. That's one of the best magic lectures I've ever seen. He came out going...
Well, no, I was expecting him to... It's Luke Germain. I was expecting him to do mentalism, and he didn't.
Oh, boo-hoo, cry me a river. It was fucking amazing. It was fantastic, despite what Mr. Grouchy Pants.
I'm not Mr. Grouchy Pants. There was only 2 lectures that I was expecting to be mentalism. One was David Gerard and one was Luke Germain, and Luke Germain didn't do any mentalism.
Neither did David Gerard.
And neither did David Gerard, no. So, as far as mentalism routines go, there were none.
Yeah, so it's the Session Magic Convention, not the Session Mentalism Convention. Get over yourself.
Really?
Yeah. Now,
really?
I will say, go to Mindvention. It happens every year up north. Seriously.
How far
Michael Murray, who lives in Newcastle, so it happens in Newcastle.
Quite far up north.
He runs Mindvention. It's a convention for mind readers.
How many people go to that?
It's quite intimate. I think it's like 100 or 150. But Luca Volpe was there last year. Anyway, Wayne Dobson.
But Luke Germain's lecture was phenomenal. It was amazing.
It was one of the best.
The tricks that he does are mind-blowing, and how he performs them are incredible.
One of the best magic lectures I've ever seen.
One of the most incredible things about it is that the sound guys didn't fuck that one up. They managed to get that right. It was phenomenally good. Really, really good. And I enjoyed it. And he did get a standing ovation at the end, and I was a part of that. I stood up. I gave him, he was brilliant.
He stood up going...
No, I didn't. I wasn't disappointed. It was a phenomenal lecture. When we left, you went, what did you think of that? And I was like, I was kind of expecting mentalism. It's Luke Germain. But, I mean, what he did was incredible.
Yeah, I get it. I was talking about Wayne Dobson. So Mike Sullivan comes up to me a few hours before Wayne's podcast. And he says, can you do me a favour? I'm like, what?
This was such a bad idea.
It was a bad idea. He said, Wayne's going to do this thing. We've asked Damien to ask him a question about the Rubik's Cube. And he's going to turn around and say, I used to be really good at the Rubik's Cube back in the day. And we need somebody in the audience to heckle Wayne and say, bet you can't do it now, can you, mate?
And what better person to ask to do that than the man that keeps out of trouble relentlessly on the internet, Mr. Craig Petty.
I already have enough shit.
And not only did he say to him, can you just shout out at Wayne Dobson?
In the middle of an interview.
In the middle of an interview that's going on to a podcast, can you shout, when he mentions the Rubik's Cube, can you go, bet you can't do that anymore, mate? For when Wayne looks at him and says, who's that? And he goes, it's Craig Petty. They then carry on with the trick. Mike's got the bag. And then he goes,
you're embarrassing yourself,
You're
Wayne.
embarrassing yourself,
There's
Wayne.
Another one in the
cube
bag.
in the bag.
Yeah.
Which he was told to say.
Which he was told to say. And then Damien says, why are you heckling Wayne? I'm like, well, it's an embarrassment, isn't he now? Like, which is, I've been scripted to say this stuff.
And then the best thing that's ever happened in Magic ever happens at that particular moment, where Wayne Dobson, on a stage in front of a room full of people, just goes, fuck off, Petty.
But here's the problem, right? Here's the problem. Anybody who knows my history knows that one of the reasons I left this community is because of the whole Wayne Dobson, Jeff McBride debacle from like 12, 13 years ago. When I delivered that line and I sat there, second row back next to you, dutifully waiting for my moment, listening to this, loving every second of it, loving the podcast. It was one of the highlights of my convention, I have to be honest. And then Damien started going, oh, you were good at something, weren't you? And I was like, fuck, this is where it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I just said, but you can't do it now, can you, Wayne? The entire audience.
Everyone. The whole room. All of the oxygen got instantly sucked out of the room. Because everybody went, it was, and I'm like, oh, fuck. This is going to be Armageddon when this gets put out on the internet.
And then he's like, why people didn't realise at that point it was a bit? Because then, you know, they made it really awkward for a few seconds. He's like, okay, well, actually, Wayne can solve it psychically. He did that. And then I came back with the next line about you're embarrassing yourself, Dobson. Just get it. You know, there's another one in the bag, you know. And then Damien then turns around to me and goes, why are you heckling? They made it feel so real. I'm like, well, because he's a shadow of his former self. You know, it's like, what the hell is going on? And then they smashed up the bag and showed there wasn't a cube there. And he goes, fuck off, Petty. It was hilarious at that point. Everyone was like, oh!
The fuck off Petty was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
I had at least 5 people come up to me after the convention and thought it was real and go, why did you feel the need to heckle Dobson? And I think that certain people...
I had to explain it away to a number of people after the show
think
as well.
Certain people thought I just wanted to heckle Wayne.
They asked him to do it.
Yeah, I think a few people wanted me to just heckle Wayne. They thought I'd actually heckled Wayne, and luckily he's such a pro that he was able to turn it round with the fuck off Petty.
He had a smile on his face the whole time.
He did. He was loving it. And he messaged me afterwards going, Craig, that was amazing. Thanks very much. And I loved it, but, you know, it hasn't helped my reputation one bit, really.
Well, it wasn't real. It was staged. I was there when... I can actually vouch for you. I was there when he came up to you and asked you. The whole thing was rigged. Wayne loved it. We spoke to him after. He was over the moon with it. He thought it was hilarious. He got to tell you to fuck off in front of a room full of people.
And the bottom line is, Wayne Dobson is a legend. And genuinely, I think that podcast was one of the highlights of my whole session.
What a nice bloke.
And his book set is incredible. Yeah, Wayne Dobson's just the man, as far as I'm concerned. And for anybody who thought I actually did heckle him, fuck off. Anything else we want to add about the session?
That's helpful.
Yeah, it's not really, but
it was just the whole experience of it, seeing like everyone that came down and people coming up and saying hello, and the amount of people that are just like, can I show you a trick? I'm like, fuck yeah, show me a trick. Like some of the stuff that I've seen,
people were wanting pictures with you.
People wanting pictures,
and he was like, why? And they were like, you're famous. You're not famous.
Yeah, I'm like, why? And they're just like, yeah. They got me to sign. There's a big card that Bicycle are auctioning off or something, or giving away, or whatever they're doing with it, and they're getting all the magicians to sign it and stuff.
All the famous magicians.
All the famous magicians to sign it, and I walked up and she went, "Will you sign the card?" And I'm like, "Why?" And she went, "Well, you're a well-known magician." And I was like, Okay. So I'm like signing this card next to Stephen Frayne's name.
Just above Ryland's.
Just above Ryland's name. It's like,
Right.
shit, okay.
We're going to wrap this up by doing it this way. Give me a rating, all of the pros, all of the cons, give me a rating for the session convention out of 100.
I just want to say thank you to everyone that came up and spoke to us and said hello and sessioned with us and had a good time and had a drink and had a laugh. And that was the best part of it for me, was just meeting all of these people, because I didn't really get to do that too much at Blackpool in the day. And by the night time, I was too drunk to remember anything. So just being able to hang out and, just chilling and having people come over and showing you different magic tricks. Some of the stuff that's coming out at Blackpool this year, holy fuck.
I did some filming.
Thomas's trick.
I did some filming.
You'll know who I mean. Thomas, it's impossible.
Yeah.
That's real magic.
Yeah, it is.
That's not possible.
Yeah.
And that's coming out
If
of
you thought
Blackpool.
Drop was good last year at the Blackpool convention,
Drop, the guy who released Drop, Thomas, he's got another one called Jupiter. It's impossible.
Yeah.
Literally everybody at the convention is just like, that's real magic.
Yep.
It's phenomenally good. And he's got two.
Yep.
So he's not just coming with one trick that's blown everybody away and is going to be the best trick at Blackpool. He's got two.
Yeah. Incredible. So give it a rating.
Also,
Also, James's routine that I did.
James Beasley. Yeah. The with the
Spitfire.
Spitfire, that's what it's called. That's going to be amazing. If we can try and find a way of getting that into the hands of Danny Goldsmith for him.
Fuck Danny. I did like 3 routines for him at the session. Why do you need Danny Goldsmith when you've got Craig Petty? Why do you need... Shut up, Nem.
Nem wants to answer that.
Shut up, Nem.
I was going to let Nem answer that because I know
Nem.
he'd answer that better than me.
Why would the world need Danny Goldsmith
Nem?
when you've got me?
It's impossible.
It don't need answering, does it? It's a question. It's a rhetorical question that he's asking. Yeah. Does it really need answering?
Anyway, right, give it a rating.
Out of what?
100.
Oh, 100.
That's what we do here at Magic TV.
Well, I wasn't sure I've never rated a convention before. Okay, so it's too expensive.
Yep.
The sound guys really pissed me off.
Yep.
There wasn't enough mentalism stuff there for me.
Yep.
But I had an amazing time.
So?
And I don't know, it's tricky. What are you rating it?
I'm giving it 85%. It's not the best session I've been to, but it was still good and way better than pretty much every other Magic convention that there is. I just think that they could do a little bit more next year. And some of it was out of their control. I'm sure they didn't want to fuck up the tech on purpose. I'm sure,
who would want to do that on
and
purpose?
they got let down by a couple of people at the last minute. That's not their fault, and they scrambled to sort that out. But, we have to take all that into consideration. So 85%. I'd go back. I'll go back next year.
I think 85% is a good score, actually.
Yeah. Feel free to rip me off. That's what Ron does. Okay, 85%.
Right, 86.
Fuck you. Okay, so 86%. And one last thing before you go, just to bring it back to the matchmentary. What one thing... we've already been going way too long. What one thing...
Yeah, we need to get to the
no,
circle.
exactly. It's you. You don't shut the fuck up. What one thing would you say has helped you in your journey to the Bear Pit and the House of Secrets? What one thing, one piece of advice, one thing that you learned? It could be something, a conversation with David Gerard. It could be a lecture.
It's definitely David
Gerard.
Gerard.
It could be something. What one thing have you learned that's going to help you with your journey over the next month?
The conversation I had with David Gerard. There was multiple points. If you want me to pick one, I will. But
Just one.
How to bring an audience into your show. We had a very in-depth conversation about that, and he gave me some invaluable advice. How to make a show about your audience, not about yourself, even if it is about yourself.
Perfect. Great. That's
But
amazing.
there was a million other things that he told me.
Well, thank you. Thanks very much for joining us on this session review. We'll be back next week with another matchmentary. Don't worry, for those people that are disappointed that we didn't have a proper match episode this week, next week I'll make him do something really stupid. So we'll be back
I
again.
haven't got time to do stupid shit. Blackpool is in a month.
Exactly. So there's more than enough time to get you to dance to the Chihuahua while
I'm
wearing a
not
Grinch
dancing
outfit
to the
in the middle of
Chihuahua.
Canada.
It's not even Christmas anymore.
Don't care. It'll be funny. We'll be back again next week. Look out for Matt in the Grinch outfit. Thank you very
Don't
much.
say things like that, because then people are going to expect it to happen, and
Yeah,
it's not.
it
I've
will
got
happen.
time.
We've got a dream.
I'm not going into Canada dressed like the fucking Grinch. It's not happening. I've got shit to do. Blackpool's in a month, man.
Yeah, I know. And Chihuahua training begins tomorrow.
No, it doesn't.
Chihuahua.
Doesn't.
Chihuahua.
haven't got
Chihuahua.
time.
Chihuahua. Company.
Haven't got time.
Give me a company. Company.
No.
Give me a company. Come on.
We need to go to the... We
Company.
need to go to the session.
Arms out.
Just reminded me
What?
of Mark Lemon's trick.
What?
Mr. Lemon's trick.
Which one?
With the stamp.
I didn't see
Did
it.
he not show you?
No.
It's so bad.
What is it?
I can't tell you on camera. It's that bad.
Every year he comes up
He
with
was
something.
doing it to everyone. He did it to Lloyd. It was fucking hilarious.
We're going to cut this now because I need to have a conversation with Matt.
It just reminded me. He was so proud of himself.
We'll be back again next week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Craig. This is Matt. Bye, everyone.